All right. Okay. So we're going to try this real quick. My internet is still laggy, and I appreciate you guys for understanding about me kind of having these troubles with my internet and storms that have gone through. It got pretty rough, knocked out my internet for a while. And in order for me to present this to you guys, like I need to be able to use my computer, not really just from my phone. So I am trying to record it right now while I have a few. That way you guys can just watch. So here I have created these beautiful slides. And I'm going to make it bigger so you guys can see and follow along. This is what I'm working with right now, so it'll work. Okay, so uncovering your hidden emotions. Is this even mine? Is a phrase that I learned when I joined Healers Rising with Caitlin Diana, and she has coached me and taught me a whole lot in the past. I've been with him for 3 years now. February was around 3 years. Yeah, so like it was 2021. And I have gone through the DCOS practitioner program, and I am actually currently retaking the D2 program along with some of my other buddies from the first group that went through. And basically, why is because I am looking to really master it even further. And that way, I will be able to serve you guys a little further as well. In saying that, if you are interested in the type of work that I do, she is offering a master class free. It is 3 days long. They're spread out. I think the 4th, the 10th, and the 11th, if I am correct. But I can also share that information with you guys in the actual Facebook page. So if you're interested in that, just keep an eye out for that. I'll post it. And then as far as for learning more about is this even mine, when I first learned this phrase, and we learned how to really check in with our bodies, like, okay, I'm feeling angry right now. Okay, like I'm really upset and I'm angry, and there are some things happening in my life right now that have really frustrated me on multiple like levels. There's different aspects in my life right now that are really frustrating. So I use a pendulum, but I also use my body to listen. And I don't know if you all got to print out the chart. It's free on her website where I posted the link. You can go there and get it for yourself. It is for personal use. I do not make any money off of it. But I use my pendulum to just really check in. And of course, it's picking up the anger, and it's picking up the joy too, because I do also on the opposite end. So here's my scales. I have joy and I have anger. And I'm having to learn how to balance those right now because it's life and business and home, like all the things. Like I am a work from home mom, and I am also a homeschool mom, and I'm also the one that takes care of the house, while the partner is gone making all the money. Um, so as it's picking up the anger and the joy, it's saying I am frustrated, mad, furious, irritated. And that's accurate. I know that that's mine because that's currently how I'm feeling, and I know what it's about. Now, when I initially had checked in with one day, I was feeling this anger that came out of nowhere. And that's when it gets interesting, because I was like, why am I mad? Like you just get irritated and you're just like, God, you have these mood shifts, right? And I checked in, and we learned how to ask, like, well, if this isn't mine, Like, hey, body, is this mine? And I get this like, no, this isn't mine. Okay, well, then is it my mom's? Nah, doesn't feel right. Is it my partner's? Still falls flat. Is it my dad's? Ooh. So I'm clearing something right there. Okay. So, talking about this story about my dad, is that as a child, I had witnessed him get angry about something, like his own frustration. And as children, we pick these things up from our parents. So there was this part that he had gotten mad or frustrated about something. And so I was like, oh, well, that's how I react or respond, to something like that. Well, that's not really how I respond to things, but because I've seen it modeled in my life, that's how I was responding. So then to recognize that and acknowledge it, I was able to kind of pull that all back and peel it away and just kind of politely hand all that back to him. Like, okay, here's your box of your behavior, however you want to put it. That can stay with you. That is not how I'm going to operate. So I actually wrote about the story. This was my first time to do a collaboration book, and it was called Own Your Awesome and Step into Your Authenticity. And so at that time, this was me stepping into my authenticity and stepping into my power, was becoming aware of this is not mine, or, oh, this is mine. And then, learning how to do it, how to recognize it, how to acknowledge it. When I go through sessions, I actually I walk you guys through some of this if it is relevant, and I like to work with spirit guides and your guys' team and my team, and we work together. I listen, I hear, I know, I feel. I use all my psychic senses to allow them to flow through and to move around like what it is that you need from this healing session. I usually mostly do it that way. If you come to me in session and you're just kind of like, oh, I just don't understand this. I don't know why I'm having this issue. I don't know why I'm feeling these things. I find the hidden layers. I see your blind spots, all those things. And if your spirit team and my spirit team agree that you're open and willing to receive what it is that I'm seeing, then I will find a way to reiterate it back to you in a way that is to your understanding. I hope that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. So I was having like a bit of a download there. It's like, okay, calm down. So by exploring the roots of our emotions, we unravel hidden patterns, past traumas, and deeply ingrained beliefs that shape our present reality. This journey of self-discovery, it fosters empathy, resilience, and emotional intelligence, empowering us to forge deeper connections with ourselves and others. I'm not going to read all of this on the slides. It is a free download for you guys if you want to download and read all of the information. Most of what I'm talking about resonates with my slides, so I wanted to keep it simple for you guys. So the unacknowledged feelings, they manifest as subtle cues over overt expressions and driving us to seek validation, avoid conflict, or engage in self-sabotage. Self-sabotage is a pattern that I get a lot, just from the people around me, or I even get clients come in. I'm still clearing some stuff there. Okay, is that even mine? Feels like it is. Okay, cool. Thank you for the awareness. But by exploring this concept, we unravel the intricate web of thoughts and beliefs that are shaping our actions and fostering greater self-awareness and intentionality. And that is where I was explaining the situation with my father and, his belief system and, his own awareness. Those were all a reflection of him. And I was taking that on too as my own, but that like wasn't what I wanted to buy and sell as mine. So I'm able to rewrite my own patterning once I get to the core root of my actual issue. Let's see here. This one is our external factors. I no longer watch the news anymore. Every once in a while, I'll hit a TikTok in my feed and it will give me a blip of what's going on in the world. And that's about as far as I can go, is about, a minute or two of listening to that. I get what I need from it and I'm just like, okay, cool. I was actually so triggered by the news the last time I watched it, which was, when was that? It was 2019. And we had storm coming and I love storms. I get so excited about them. And the weatherman, he was just like so fear based, like everything. He was like, oh my God, you got to take cover now and you got to do this. And he was just like, he was just losing his stuff on TV. And I was just listening to it. Like I was absorbing all in. I had gotten so worked up from listening to this weatherman that the following day I woke up, I could not walk. It had sent my fight or flight, adrenals, everything was so out of whack. I had seized my back up and I could not move. Like it was horrible. So I call into the chiropractor's office and I'm like, I need help. Like I cannot walk. I barely was able to get myself to the car and out of the car, but I made it to that chiropractor appointment and they were able to do a little bit of shifting around. And after a few days and lots of ice, I was able to settle down and be more like normal. But that is why I do not watch the news anymore. And then, media representations inundate us with unrealistic standards, triggering feelings of inadequacy or comparison. These influences subtly infiltrate our psyche, shaping our self image and interpersonal dynamics. It was literally like, it felt more so like that whole psychic attack, like manipulation coming through. Like it was terrible. By acknowledging their impact, we gain insight into the origins of our emotions and behaviors, empowering us to challenge ingrained beliefs and cultivate resilience. I knew that there was nothing to be scared of that day. And I was preparing and doing all the things like I normally do. And I don't get worked up like that anymore because I'm not listening to that weatherman just go crazy wild. Anyways, internalized beliefs and conditioning. They act as filters through which we interpret events and interactions, guiding our emotional reactions and behavioral patterns, whether rooted in notions of worthiness, safety is huge, or belonging. That's another big one. You may not feel like you belong here, but you do belong here. If you're feeling like you don't belong here, please reach out because I will help you unwind that. Like, no, you do belong here. These internalized beliefs, they shape our self-concept and influence how we navigate relationships and challenges. By scrutinizing and challenging these beliefs, we gain insight into the origins of our emotional response and empower ourselves to cultivate healthier, more adaptive ways of thinking and relating to ourselves and others. The process of self-reflection. So, yeah, do you guys ever stop and take a minute to do self-reflection? It's really a huge piece. Um, you know, And introspection, it lays the foundation for your personal growth, your resilience, and your emotional well-being, especially that emotional well-being. I find that that's where many of us struggle the most. It's, I think a lot of it is, this is my personal opinion, but I think a lot of it is that, growing up, we didn't really understand how to use our emotions or how to express them. Maybe we were, told stop crying, or, if I hear one more word out of you, blah, 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 like all those triggering things. That's kind of how it was for me. So that's where that is coming from. But I was made small, so I'm no longer small, and I actually use my voice these days, and I do it feeling empowered and becoming more confident and being on here and sharing this information with you guys. That is my growth, and it's me shining through. So, exploring your triggers. This process definitely involves introspection and self-awareness. Sorry about that. I clicked the wrong button. Um, Enabling us to recognize patterns and understand how past experiences continue to influence our present reactions. As I keep referring back and back and back from childhood, it can also go back to previous lives. There are previous lifetimes. I am a past life hypnosis regression practitioner with QHHT, and I have walked, let's see, gosh, I don't even know the number anymore. Almost at 20 now. I have walked them back through their past lives. And in doing so, they have uncovered some of these things that they carried forward. And they brought this stuff forward into this lifetime. And so those things were even triggering them and stopping them from being who they truly are. Maybe you're trying to grow and become something, but you're feeling limited and pushed back, and like you can't get over that speed bump. Well, there's something still there. So we got to dig and we got to find it. We've got to look in the patternings and see where we can find it. Was it a belief? Was it something that happened to you in this lifetime or your past lifetime, or even, like, I don't know, however many past lives you have? We go in there and we figure it out. Your self-awareness, as you grow that self-awareness and start to practice it, that becomes huge. For myself, my self-awareness with, is this even mine? And I have saved it on my watch screen. My watch is being now, but I made a picture on there. And so anytime I need to look at my watch, if I'm checking time or something, I can go, oh yeah, let me check in. Is this even mine? Like, if I'm feeling anything, like, and then I can go from there. If it is mine, then I'm like, okay, I ask questions. What's causing me to feel this way? Why am I feeling this way? There's many questions that you can ask in that moment. What's this trying to tell me? Is it trying to show me? Just different questions. Like, that's where I begin. And I check in. I'm like, okay. So whenever I figure out the trigger, I start to go through my Akashics. I go through my Akashic records. I'm like, is there something here that I need to look at and clear? Like, it's a whole process, but you can start with emotions and learning to clear out what is not yours and what is yours. So it's like a two-way thing. You can get excited and be like, oh, this is mine, this isn't mine, but sometimes it is going to be yours, and you have to look at it. If you don't look at it, then you're constantly avoiding it, and then you're self-sabotaging yourself because you're avoiding it. You can't go forward if you're not willing to look at it. So just remember that. Practicing mindfulness. This is a technique that it works for some people, but I find that some people struggle with it. It is an art that needs to be practiced, in my opinion. But also, even just with the grounding exercises, like grounding yourself in. Sometimes we're up here. We're just out of our body and we're just everywhere because it's just like, oh, I don't want to deal with that, or I don't want to feel that. I don't want to be here right now. All those things that come up, you're out of your body because, your soul is just like, ugh, like I can't deal with that right now. It's like jumping into a pool of sharks. Okay. And you have that resistance and you're like, oh, heck no. I got to jump out of here. Like there's too many sharks in there. Well, let's feed the shark, give it what it needs. It's so funny that I'm using the shark. So anyway, that's another story. But, feed the shark, learn from the shark, take what it's offering and learn from it and let it swim on out of its way. Eventually, all the sharks are going to be out of your pool and you can come back in and not even have to worry about being grounded all the time. You still want to check in, of course, but yeah, wouldn't it be great to just one day be like, huh, it feels so nice to just be sitting here in my body? That is still where I am trying to get. Even as a healer, I'm still learning and I'm still healing myself. That does not say that I cannot come in and help someone else at the same time. So, practice such as mindful breathing. Mindful breathing came in handy for me. And I guess I'm going to touch on my shark story because I went to Hawaii in February with the healing group, the Decodes and Healers Rising. And we went, was it snorkeling? I keep wanting to say it's scuba diving, but we went snorkeling. And I had told them on the boat before jumping in the water, they asked if anyone had any questions or concerns. And I said, yeah, I have this, it was a long fear I had of sharks because I always thought one was going to eat me. I used to watch Jaws when I was a kid, and I've had a visual of a past life where I was drowning in the water and I started to sink and I saw a shark eat me. So it was like an Akashic moment for me. So I told them that. And initially, before even getting to Hawaii, I kept holding the thought. I'm like, I'm gonna deal with this in Hawaii because I'm getting in that water, and I knew being in that big body of ocean was gonna be scary for me. But I put my flippers on and I put my snorkel mask on. I got in the water. I started hyperventilating, and because in January when I went to Banff for another retreat with the same crew, we learned Qigong from my friend Allison. She is amazing. She taught us this breathing and through with the Qigong process to actually regulate, the system whenever it's like spiraling out of control like it was. So I started doing those breaths and I was like, like that. And it was like blowing the fire out. And I'm like, okay, I finally got my nervous system regulated. And I was able to put my mask on and look in the water. They did say baby sharks were going to be in there. And I was like, okay. They said, but they don't bother you. They don't try to eat you. And the guy who stayed on the ship, he was driving the boat. It wasn't a ship. It's a boat. He said that if, a shark came, he would come in, he would save us. He was going to take care of things. I'm like, okay, I felt confident enough. Well, as we swimming out, we go to the front of the boat. I'm like, okay, we're getting farther away from the boat. I'm just going with it. And I just keep breathing. I'm like, okay, I'm checking in. And I'm just like embracing it all. And I looked down in the water and there was like, I don't even know, 7 of these baby sharks. They were like in this little pod and I'm looking at them. And I'm just, I'm saying to them telepathically, I'm like, y'all just stay over there, please. Like, do not come close to me because I'll freak out. they just observed me, and it was almost like they were like, "Look at this weird human looking at us." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. I've made peace with you guys." Like, I felt like I had shut everything down. I looked at my Akashic and I'm like, "This is cool. I can handle this. I'm swimming with shark now." Until my other friend, she was further out and she was like, "Oh, wow, this shark over here is really big." And I'm like, "Huh? Like, how big is it? Like, is it bigger than like these other ones? They were probably like this big." And the instructor that was in the water with us, she looks down and she was like, "Oh my gosh." She started to freak a little bit. And she's like, "Everybody get into a group." Like, we all had to herd into this group. Don't splash. Don't make a bunch of movement. And then that's when Taylor, the boat driver, had to come in the water. It was a 10-foot tiger shark that was literally 10 feet from me. And I was like, my eyes got big. And one of our team leaders, Violet, she was in the water and she already knew what I had said, and she was just looking at me and she was just like, "It's okay." And she was just softly, carefully saying, "It's okay." She was reassuring me, and I was regulating my nervous system and just being like, "Okay, what's the worst that could have happened? He could have ate me." He did not. He never even bothered us. He ended up swimming away. Taylor made some noises that kind of scared him away, and he ended up jumping in the water. And we later had some whales come in. So that was pretty neat. But when they said to head back to the boat, I was the first one back on the boat, just so you know. But anyway, I digress from, sorry about that long story, but maybe you guys got something from that. Let's see, tools for inquiry. So, your chart. Sometimes you don't have to use the chart. Sometimes you'll just know that you're pretty angry and frustrated, or you'll know when you're sad. But there's always something behind sad. I feel sad. Well, why are you feeling sad? Are you feeling left out? Okay. Maybe you're depressed about feeling left out. So, where did that show up in your life before? Let's go back and back. And let's see. Where did that come up before in your life that you felt left out? Was it in school? Did you get left out? You know, like we go deep. Like, you go farther back and you find the point of origin is what we're taught. Um, but yeah, find that emotion, get to the point of where it came from, and then we get to the bottom of things. Like, I take you guys through that in sessions, and it is a transformational process, in my opinion, and I think my clients would all agree. Let's see here. I do love journaling prompts. So I've got here, journaling prompts encourage introspection into underlying triggers and influences, shaping emotional responses. While self-reflection exercises prompt you to explore the past experiences and the societal conditioning. I love writing about it because pen to paper is just like, helps to get that frustration out, and it's pulling the thought out, and in the same time you can just let it all out. If you're sad, cry when you're writing it, feel that emotion. If you're mad, just be like, oh, like, let it out. I've sometimes taken an empty box and beat the crap out of the box just to do an emotional release. Like, do whatever you got to do. So after I write my letters, one of my favorite things to do is to go outside. And I have a little, those little clay pots. You can do a clay pot. I use the saucer too, but the pot's a little bit safer, like when it's windy here. And I rip it up because it feels empowering, and I drop it in there, and then I light it on fire, and then I watch it go. And then I'm just knowing that all that ish is going up in smoke, and it's getting out of here. Like, then I feel better. And if something else comes up about that situation, then I look further and I do all my steps. Like, that's part of learning these tools, you know. It is a process. Um, yeah, so delving deeper, I realized that many of the emotions I experienced were inherited from my parents. Sometimes it's my partner, sometimes it's my children, um, my siblings, and even strangers from everyday encounters. There are also times when these people are mirroring things to me. And I find that that sometimes is triggering to me because it's like, oh my gosh, I have to look at something within myself. But I also have realized that once I do so and look at what it is within myself that these people are mirroring to me, I'm able to go in and understand and know that my self awareness and reflection, that's not how I want to be or how I want to operate. And I find those triggers and those stories and all the beliefs and all the things, and I bring it all forward. It is emotional baggage, no lie. But I no longer wish to tote that stuff around anymore. So that's why I love these tools and I dive in and I'm like, no, I do not. I do not want to tote this stuff any longer than I have to. Sometimes doing this work too, we're not only healing ourselves, we're healing our family, we're healing our immediate family, we're healing our kids. Our relationships become better. We become better as a person and more enjoyable, most likely to be around. Um, we kind of learn where to set boundaries with others, how much we're willing to take from someone else before we just say, okay, I've had enough. Like, just lots of things. Um, okay. So, next steps. I encourage you to apply this knowledge by integrating mindfulness practices into your daily routines. Like I said, sometimes those do not work well for others, but there's other ways kind of around that, like checking in with yourself and doing the breathing or the journaling. Maybe you don't like writing. Maybe it wouldn't hurt to sit down for a minute with a pen and paper and just write a note to yourself or to someone that really irritating you and tell them how you feel. Tell yourself how you feel. Sometimes you just got to do the thing rather than limiting and holding yourself back. Utilize your tools, such as the emotion wheel, which is a free download. Keep it on your phone. Look at it when you need to. When you're out in public, just be like, oh my God, what is this feeling that I'm feeling? And be like, okay, maybe you understand that it's not yours and that it's the lady over in the checkout line next to you. Maybe you're tuning into her. Maybe you're picking up what she's carrying. Maybe then you can set a boundary with your body to not do that unless you want it to. That was another tool that I had to learn. If you have empathic capabilities, you can most likely pick up everything everywhere you go. And that's where you have to start doing those energetic boundaries. I made a little worksheet. So this worksheet serves as a tool to help you become more aware of your emotions and relent pent up feelings. Excuse me. So the common emotions are listed here, and you can reflect on them for what you're currently experiencing. And then down here, after you identify the recent trigger or event that caused the emotion, okay, so maybe you and your partner had an argument, or you and a friend, and it made you angry or sad or anxious. Maybe it was jealousy, but you got to tune into that and understand why you're feeling what you're feeling. Emotional release. Write a letter to yourself, expressing your feelings without judgment. That is huge. Describe the emotions that you're feeling in detail, including any physical sensations. Anything in your body. Where are you feeling pain? Are you feeling tense? Is your adrenals got your kidneys and all back here just seizing up and locking up, and you're just like, oh, my lower back is hurting really bad? Like, note those areas. Write down any insights or realizations that come up as you reflect on your emotions. Okay, reflection and closure. Reflect on how you feel after completing this worksheet. Did you gain any insight or actions that you plan to take moving forward? Like, did anything come forward for you? Like, write that down. You can go get you a little composition book, and you can just kind of take notes. Just make it like your emotion journal or something like that. It's a start, but you have to be willing to take the start, you know? All right. I believe that is the end of my slides. So I'll stop sharing. All right. So I hope you guys gained some information and knowledge from that. If I talk too fast, please let me know. And if I gave you some things that made you confused, bring that up. Send me a message on Facebook or in the event. I think it might already be closed, but you guys can get in contact with me if you have any questions, something else that I could maybe answer for you. Don't hesitate. I will go back and attach the emotion wheel link. I'll put it underneath this recording so that you guys can go there and grab that as the resource. And I'll have the slides that's available to download with also the worksheet at the end. And yeah, if you guys need more information on what it is that I do and following my blog and things like that, my website is called thegiftedpsychichealer.com. And you can also contact me via email on there if need be. Let's see. Other than that, I will let you guys go. And thank you so much for your understanding of my cancellation yesterday. But hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will be chatting with you guys soon with whatever next event I decide to hold. So, all right, catch you guys later. Bye.